feel ready.
Today's episode is brought to you by David and Bryce's moms. We brought you David and Bryce, and now we bring you an extra special Mother's Day episode of Horror Movie Talk. We aren't professional podcasters, but we know a thing or two about what it takes to be a mom. So sit tight and prepare for the spookiest episode of Horror Movie Talk yet.
Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk.
An opinionated and accidentally funny horror movie review show. Go, 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 go.
I just had to stroll through the scraggly woods. He had no face! Horror!
Sabrina, don't just stare at it, eat it.
New theatrical releases always get priority.
But we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible.
Wow, that didn't sound good.
Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk. Your panel of expert hosts this week are Dr. Kathy Day, who holds a PhD in motherhood, and Professor Tommy Hansen, the foremost expert in stern punishment of bad children. New theatrical releases always get priority, but we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible. I'm Kathy Day, and across from me sits Tommy Hansen. A cool thing you may not know about Horror Movie Talk is we have the very best community of any podcast you've ever listened to. There's a website, horrormovietalk.com. They're on social media, Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/horrormovietalk. We post new episodes every Wednesday. Call us at our voicemail, 682-253-4468, normal, 252-228-2628, body, 4628, excuse me, 252-228-4628, body fluids exchange. We've got a great show today. We're going to be reviewing A Bad Seed, which is a movie from 1956. We'll start out by giving a brief review and our score for the movie. We score on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a miserable dredge where it makes you angry, 5 being an average film that hits all the expected marks, and 10 being so good it transcends genre boundaries. After we give our score, we'll get into spoilers and take a deeper dive into what we liked and hated about the film. And later, we will be telling stories about David and Bryce and taking calls from listeners. We watched The Bad Seed, made in 1956, and it was a lot slower than I remembered it being when I saw it in the late 60s, but knowing it was a stage play first, it kind of makes sense. Oh, here's the trailer.
She might get kind of lonesome when that soldier boy of hers gone.
I wish she were mine. Every time I look at her, I wish I had just such a little girl.
This has been a terrible tragedy for Mrs. Daigle, as she's lost her only child.
I know what old Monica Breed love. I don't think nobody knows anything but her.
He has the mind of an 8-year-old, but he's managed to produce a family, so I keep him on.
Give me those shoes back.
Oh, no, I got them shoes hid where nobody but me can find them.
Better give me those shoes. They're mine. Give them back to me.
I believe you did it.
What'll you give me if I give you a basket of kisses?
I'll give you a basket of hugs.
I'll miss your hugs.
Well, I'm not letting the slightest degree really knows what she's told of you. Don't mind me being presumptuous. I had a long talk with that guard since I saw you last. And that was a long, interesting conversation. He said he saw Rhoda on the pier just before Claude was found among the pilings. She knows something, all right.
Did you have anything? I don't care how small it was. Did you have anything to do with the way Claude got drowned?
What makes you ask that, Mother?
Now look me in the eye and tell me the truth, because I must know.
No, Mother, I didn't.
You're not going back to the Fern School next year. They don't want you anymore.
Okay.
I'm going to call Miss Fern and have her come over here.
You think I lied to her?
You did lie to her.
But not to you, Mother, not to you.
You know something? Miss Fern dyes her hair.
And Rhoda's a sweet, perfectly sound little girl.
Father, is she?
Run, Daddy. Next to Daddy, you lift me up best. Why do you look at me?
I just want to see your face.
The Bad Seed can be found for rent on Amazon or anywhere you rent movies online. The Bad Seed is a story about... Oh.
I was just going to say, don't bother.
Oh, she hated it. The Bad Seed is a story about a little girl, Rhoda Penmark, who may have been born bad with no conscious empathy or soul. Rhoda's mom, Christine, learns of a death at her daughter's school picnic. The Daigle boy who died just happens to have been the same young man that beat little Rhoda at the penmanship competition and got a cool medal for it.
I think our sons needed a penmanship competition.
Rhoda seems unconcerned and even a bit peckish following the death of her classmate, and she only asks for a peanut butter sandwich. As the story unravels, we learn more and more mysterious deaths that seem to have occurred in Rhoda's presence, and everyone gets more evil child than they bargained for. The Bad Seed was directed by Mervyn LeRoy and adapted from Maxwell Anderson's play, which was adapted from William March's book, all of the same name. As a result, it feels a bit like a stage play, which by today's standards means that it feels a little fluffy in areas. At the core of the movie is a mystery of how Rhoda got to be this way. Was she born evil, or did Christine and her husband raise her wrong? The movie preys on a parent's innate fear of being unable to bring their child back from completely unacceptable behavior. The way the Bad Seed handles tension works quite well, even by today's standards. The conversations about Rhoda and what is to be done with her continue to escalate the feeling of unease. This is a character-driven movie, and all of the actors chewed up the set in their respective roles. From precocious Rhoda to suspicious Leroy, and even Rhoda's teacher, the characters and dialogue are what make this movie very similar to a play. The Bad Seed is incredibly slow by today's standards, and a lot of the dialogue winds its way in and out of being useful or progressing the story. One thing that everyone will agree on is Patty McCormick steals the show and sets the standard for one of the biggest tropes in horror movie history, the evil child. I gave this movie an 8 out of 10 score. What about you, Tommy?
Oh, I put it about 3.
I think it's because I remember seeing it as a kid, and it's kind of memorable to me.
What didn't you like about it, Mom?
Oh, what didn't I like about it? Well, I guess I was looking at it from today's standard, and it was a bit overacted. You know, you get used to the subtle raising of an eyebrow or a stern look, and I just thought, if my kid had been her, I would have known instantly she was up to something bad. I mean, really.
Right, but it was a stage play, so they were playing to the balcony, basically, and they didn't tone it down in the movie.
Well, even stage plays are a little understated in their acting, you know. The acting was just a little over the top, like, whoa. Like third grade.
This was nominated for
it was nominated for 4 awards.
4 Oscars.
Yes. Best Actress for Nancy Kelly. Best Actress in a Supporting Role, Eileen Heckert, who was
the drunk?
The Daigles. Yes, the drunk woman that was coping with her son's death.
And I think she won, actually.
Yes, she won. Well, she won a Golden Globe. She didn't win an Oscar.
I thought she won an Oscar.
The Best Cinematography Oscar for black and white cinematography, Harold Rawson. And
what
none
about
of those
costumes?
Won. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Golden Globes nominations were Best Supporting Actress, Patty McCormick, and Eileen Heckert, who did win.
My mom's super excited about talking about the costumes in the spoiler section. I can tell.
I'm super excited about some of the other stuff, but the drunk, I always wanted to play a drunk. I thought that would be fun. She was good.
She was never sober in any of her scenes. She was always drunk.
But for as drunk as she played, she sure did walk okay.
Well,
I mean, she should have been falling down.
The listener should know that my mom does not have a lot of experience being drunk. So this is all just blind assumptions.
Okay. Nice stuff.
Mm-hmm. Why don't you take the first ad, Mom, for Night Channels?
Oh. Okay, nightchannels.com. It's one of our advertisers. Night Channel is where you go when you absolutely must have the best horror movie and satanic shirt and sweatshirt wear. Just go to the nightchannels.com and surf through their shirts, and I guarantee you'll find something your mom will love to hate. You can find shirts from Alien, Dune, The Thing, Blue Velvet, Mac and Me, Videodrome, Critters 2, Hellraisers, The Witch, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and more. Enter code HMT. That's in capital letters. At checkout to get 13% off your order and save on that solo shirt your mom has been begging you about. Sallow?
Okay. Yeah, sallow.
Sallow shirt. Okay.
Been bugging you about.
And I really bug him. Yeah,
If you need below-the-waist grooming, you need manscaped.com. Listen, kids. We don't condone sex before marriage. So once you're married, head over to manscaped.com and gussy yourself up down there. Below-the-waist grooming is important, which is why manscaped.com offers the Lawnmower 3.0, the leading below-the-waist electric trimmer. They offer the Weed Whacker for the older men with stubby ear and nose hair. The best products at manscaped.com are the Crop Reviver and the Crop Preserver to keep the downstairs fresh and smelling wonderful. When you are ready for post-marital coitus, just head over to manscaped.com and enter the code HMT at checkout to save 20% off your whole order and get free shipping. If you are listening to these commercials, you should know that you don't have to. You can go to Patreon. It's the best way to support our boys. So head over to patreon.com/horrormovietalk and pick a tier that works for your budget. Our boys are stubborn and won't stop this podcast, even if it means their families go hungry. So please help them. Horror Movie Talk Shop. Buy stuff from horrormovietalk.com/shop. Check out our resident artist, Dustin Goebel, a professional artist who, according to this, is expert at intimate relations. He also takes commissions for artwork from HMT fans. Contact him at dgobel00 Insta and make your artistic dreams come true. Tell him HMT sent you.
Can you spell out that at dgobel00?
Okay, at dgobel1. Okay, a at dgoebel00. Thanks again for listening, and let's get into the spoilers.
All right. Well, the thing that I loved first about the movie was that it brought back the day and age of the 50s and the 60s, the early 60s. Those costumes were right on the mark. Women didn't wear pants very much. Right. They did wear dresses all the time. And if you were going downtown, you had to get dressed up. You went and took a shower in the middle of the day to go downtown and do your hair. And just girdles and pantyhose and pencil skirts and all of that was everyday things. Yeah. I remember wearing that to school.
Yeah.
Dresses like that. The only thing was the little girl, her costume wasn't really true, I didn't think, because we didn't have the pennilin under that made the
was
skirt.
From the early 50s when the stage play was going. The stage play was on in, 53 or 4? And she was little when she started that. And Patty McCormick had done the stage play with, what's her name? The mom, Kelly.
Okay.
And they brought it from the play, and then they made a movie out of it. And it was several years later, and they were worried about her not looking young enough, so they really overdid the costuming to make her seem younger.
The other thing that I noticed, and it's one of the things that I, was looking for, I guess, is because I started a few years ago watching the old James Bond movies, the very first. And the very first ones, you could see where the painted scenery was and where they rolled it. And when they rocked the car to make it look like they were really driving. And so, I was looking at the scenery in the back, and you could see where in the forefront it was the trees, and then it got a little, and then you had the painting scenery way. And that, those kind of things are, I think, wow. The movie industry has really gone a long way in making things so that they're more real and subtle. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's why, even though it was a stage play, the overacting was a little. I'm used to, the look.
Right, but that's true. But a lot of times, my husband and I watch Turner Classic Movies a lot, and it's real interesting to see how things were done back then. And I think it doesn't detract it for me, but I can often tell when things were a stage play and then moved to film.
Uh-huh.
But I don't mind that. I think it's interesting, and to me all this hashing out with. Rhoda goes to the picnic, and then the little boy is killed, and then the teacher comes over and talks to the mom, Mrs. Fern, and she's like saying, Rhoda's kind of a different kind of kid, but I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying she did anything bad. And the mother's going, well, what are you saying? But Mrs. Fern won't commit to it.
Yeah, that didn't sound.
It was very back and forth with Mrs. Fern.
Yeah, Mrs. Fern, she's 1 minute saying what a perfect child she is and what perfect manners and everything. And then the next minute she's saying she's not welcome back in the school. And I thought, well, what exactly are you talking about?
But she does say she has no sense of fair play. she doesn't, she can't empathize with the other kids. She has no sense of fair play. And I think she's just been looking for an excuse to get rid of Rhoda.
Too good a child. Let's get rid of her. Let's get the bad seeds.
It's kind of funny that they take the dad and send him off to Washington, D.C. in the first scene. And then so he's not there to help out. But I guess that's to make the mom have to deal with all her past and everything. And wonder and worry and build up the suspense.
Yeah, that was kind of a bomb that was dropped, oh dear, I might be adopted, and what bad things are in me that I could have passed on this child.
Yeah.
And frankly, having 2 adopted children, I didn't really like that scene very well.
No, but it was, I think back in the 40s and 50s, and all the child psychologists were wondering this kind of thing. They were, and who is that guy? I can't remember. I should have looked it up. And he put the little kids in little crib cages to really control
Study
them.
'em.
Yeah, to study them. And they were doing that kind of thing. And I think that it was what they were thinking about back in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
And I think that's where this all came from.
I think so, because 40s and 50s, adoption wasn't really kind of an accepted thing.
Right, and you couldn't know who the adoptive mother was. You couldn't know
Yeah.
anything. It was just buried.
Yeah.
I'm so interested, Tommy. I'm sorry. How did it make you? How did it? Oh, is this my mic? How did you relate to the portion about adoption? Like, how did it make you feel?
Well, it made me feel like, they talked a lot about, or insinuated that because she was adopted, maybe she had this evil portion to her. And I watched all 3 of my kids. Every single one of them had 3 different sets of parents. And it was interesting for me as they were growing up to hear some of the comments about how, they all looked alike. Because they had the same mannerisms, they copied the mannerisms of their dad and vocal things. And yet there's other things that I see that I think are genetic because they're so very different that I never saw anything that I could think that would be bad.
Well, but that was because they were talking about, do you think that a child could just be born bad? And the guy said, well, yeah. And there's been other child killers. And then they talked about that.
He said it was a 1 in a million chance.
1 in a million. But it turned out that Rhoda's biological mother had been one of these child killers.
No, Christine.
Yeah, Christine's.
Rhoda's mom.
Yeah. Had her biological mom, whom she did not remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they mentioned it wasn't just the fact that she was adopted that it was
Right.
made the evil gene. It was the fact that she was adopted from a sociopath.
Right, and the man had been working with the police, and here was this lovely little child, and he felt so bad, and he wanted a child, and he took her in, and everything was fine. That was Christine.
So, Mom, a more important question is like, how true to life is this? In your experience raising Brandy, because she's a bad seed.
She's not a bad seed. Well, I think the thing that, the mother was the one that was adopted.
Mm-hmm.
And she had her own child, so she would know her, it was like, it's not like sometimes when you adopt a child and Brandy was totally different from me personality-wise. And she was she felt everything with higher emotions and deeper. She'd go deeper in her emotions than I ever did. And I had to learn from that. I had to learn how to read her. But, as the mom looking at her own child, that she's, she should understand some of those things. And I also think if this is so rare, 1 in a million cases, then if the grandmother was the sociopath, then that 1 in a million wouldn't show up in the second generation.
It might. It might. Genetically, it might. But to get away from all that, Rhoda, she was friends with the landlady. The landlady just thought Rhoda was just it. And the landlady was kind of a busybody. And she was giving her presents, and Rhoda really liked getting presents.
Yeah.
And she had a treasure box, and she hoarded the presents. When the Daigle boy was killed, and the mother, then Eileen Heckert came over all drunk, Mrs. Daigle, and begged Rhoda to tell her what any last thing that she knew about Claude Daigle before he was gone. And Rhoda was like, yeah, I don't really want to talk to you this close. And then they rescued her from him. And the mother, Christine Penmark, did find the medal, the penmanship medal in Rhoda's jewelry box, because she had to go in and get this thing for the busybody neighbor.
I was trying to think, what age was Rhoda, do you think?
She was supposed to be 8 when they made the movie. The little girl was 10. Patty McCormick was about 10. But I thought it didn't really matter, because she could just turn that evil on and off so well. I was impressed with the acting she did. She'd get angry and just shout about how it's not my problem. He made me. He wouldn't give me the medal. So what was I supposed to do? And why can't I just have the medal? It's not going to do him any good. He's dead.
It's mine.
It should have been mine. And then there's the question of Leroy, the caretaker. He said, I know about you, little girl. You think you're so smart. Well, I'm smart too, and they think I'm not, but I am.
So it makes me wonder, sometimes you can be so close that you can't see. And maybe that's what was going through the mom, she just loved her daughter so much.
She was denying it.
Yeah.
I think she knew, but she was denying it.
But, there were certain indications. I mean,
or maybe it was more like the light was getting brighter. At first she's like, nah, and then the light came on a little brighter and a little brighter. She's going, wow, can this really be true? And then when she talked to her father when he came for a visit and pressed him to find out if she'd been adopted so that she could know better. Because she kind of had a glimmer of a memory.
Right.
She had a glimmer of a memory about being scared of her mother.
Yeah, and that whole...
that was baloney.
Psychoanalysis by the... I wouldn't have listened to her. Would you have listened to her? Let's change this subject. But, the other thing I thought was Leroy... Of course, they did say he had some kind of mental problem. And so maybe that's why he just couldn't hold back on how he acted to the little girl. I mean, he was just kind of a rude, accusatory person, Well, and I thought, man, if you really felt that way about the little kid, you'd watch her, but you wouldn't tell her what you found.
No, right. He was on the slow side.
Well, But strangely
smart.
enough, he was right.
Yeah, strangely, yeah, he had an inkling. He had an idea, but he was kind of. But you had to have these people to make the story.
In general, if you know that someone's a sociopath, it's probably not a great idea to tell them that you know that they're a sociopath, but not tell anyone else.
Poke them up about it.
Mm-hmm. Why didn't he mention something to the police or the mother? Or
he probably didn't want any attention on himself because he was kind of sketchy.
Yeah, I kind of thought if he had been around my kid, I would have thought maybe he had been a predator of some kind.
Yeah, he seemed kind of odd. And I watched this one with David, and David liked the part about the stick bloodhounds. Leroy, he wanted to scare Rhoda, and so he said, "Oh, I know you beat that little boy with a stick, and then there'll be blood on the stick, and the police have bloodhounds, and they're stick bloodhounds. They can find it. They'll put some powder on it. It'll glow in the dark." And she said, "That's ridiculous," because she knew she didn't beat the little boy with a stick. So she thought she was on the clear on that one.
But in the 50s, did they have that chemical dye that would show?
I don't know, but I expect they must. It was a good idea.
They got the inspiration for making that chemical from this movie.
Well, that's not necessarily true. You don't know
They made stick bloodhounds after it.
The other thing that was really brought back a memory to me is I can't remember why she went roller skating.
We roller skated all the time.
And remember
outside in the neighborhood.
The key? We used to have those keys.
And then you'd pinch it on your foot, and sometimes it really hurt, but you had to pinch it on so tight so the skate wouldn't flap off while you were coming down the hill.
And if you lost your key, you couldn't use your roller skates anymore unless a neighbor had a key. Yeah. And I remember borrowing neighbors' keys a lot. Me too. That was a fun memory.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what about the picnic? Oh, the dad. I love the dad. The minute I saw him, I thought, Perry Mason's sidekick.
Paul Drake from Perry Mason. Yep. Yeah.
I loved Paul Drake.
Why?
What?
Why?
Because he was tall and handsome and blonde, and that was my dream guy.
He was smooth. He never said. He was just matter of fact and said the facts.
Yeah. But he always got his guy. He always found the information on Perry Mason that Perry Mason needed. So, back to the movie.
Okay, let's see.
What did we talk about?
After Christine, and I thought it was funny that their name was Penmark, and it was a penmanship medal, like pen marks. And I also liked, like you're talking about the clothing. She had a monogram top, and it had CP for Christine Penmark, like Laverne and Shirley. I thought that was good.
And also, did you notice on that one scene where she walked in and she had the brooch, the real shiny brooch on her pocket?
No, I didn't notice it.
Oh,
I'll look for it next time I ever see it.
That was so fun. I thought, I'll have to do that next time.
So after Rhoda tells her mom about how she beat Claude back into the water, they said, why'd he have those little marks on his hands? Because he was trying to get out of the water and she's beating his hands. She beat him on the head, fell in the water. He tries to get out and she beats him on his hands, so he's in the water for good. And she begs her mom, please, Mom, don't let them hurt me. And I was thinking, why doesn't Rhoda really turn on her mom? And we were talking about it, and we thought, well, because that's her main source of trust. She trusts in her mom. That's the one person she feels like she can trust in, because everybody else she's willing to just do them in.
Yeah, well, I kind of wondered if her mom really started to come down on her discipline-wise, would she turn on her mom?
But she didn't do anything obviously bad.
Yeah.
She didn't really do. Everybody said, "Oh, she just acts so perfect, and she's always dressed so perfectly." She said, "I don't like to wear jeans. I just really like to be pretty." She just liked to be a feminine little thing, and that fooled everybody.
Hey, what did you think about when they first came and said that the little boy had died, and she was so worried about?
They didn't know which kid it was, because on the radio thing they go, "A child has died." At the picnic, and they're all going, "Oh my gosh, what if it's Rhoda?"
And then she finds out it's not Rhoda, and she's worried about how Rhoda is going to be affected.
Right.
And how did you feel about the way she? I mean,
how solicitous she was about, "Gee, Rhoda, are you okay about this poor little boy?" And Rose going, "Well, yeah, he's dead now. Did you see him? Did you see when they pulled him out? Yeah, he was lying there and they tried, but it didn't help. Now he's gone. And can I have a peanut butter sandwich now?" It's like,
and then she didn't eat it.
Oh, she went out to skate and eat
it. But I don't know. I think I would have, as in today's day and age, I would have just said, "How are you feeling?" Or let her, but obviously she wasn't feeling anything.
Right.
But then to jump so far, here she is, this loving, protective, overly concerned mother, and to jump so far to give her half a bottle of sleeping pills to knock her off. But
she said she would never let them hurt her. Well,
so I'll hurt you.
But in the but I've seen different things like that. I mean, in the movies where, in fact, there was one where the Nazis were going to take her little child because she had epilepsy. It was in World on Fire last season on Masterpiece Theater, and the woman, finally they were going to come for her daughter, and she poisoned her daughter and shot herself. Same kind of thing, or poisoned them both before the Nazis could get them. I mean, it's sort of like, I will protect you one way or another.
Yeah, I still can't imagine doing that, but I guess I never was driven to that edge by any of my kids, although they tried. They did their best to drive me to that edge.
But after she begs her mom not to hurt her, then the mom's going, that lady in Wichita before we moved here, she said, "Yeah, we were up the stairs, and she had told me that she would give me something, and it was kind of icy, and she fell down the stairs." Her mom says, "Did she fall down the stairs?" She goes, "Well, I kind of bumped her." "Oh, did you?" She says, "Well, I kind of pushed her." and she fell down 2 flights of stairs and died. So that was the second one the mom knew about. And then Leroy tells her, then Leroy and Rhoda talk again, and he says, "Yeah, boy, they're going to find out about you and put you in the electric chair." And she says, "Oh, they don't put kids in the electric chair." He says, "Oh, yes, they have little ones. They have a little blue ones for little boys, little pink ones for little girls."
Oh, you got the accent down, too. I wondered where he came from.
I always remember Henry Jones running out on fire. That's what I remember from this movie. It was shocking to me as a 12-year-old when I saw it on TV.
Yeah.
I thought, oh my gosh.
He kept that bed.
He kept that bed of Excelsior back behind the furnace.
For the listeners, can you explain Excelsior?
Shaved. It's it's shaved packing material made out of wood. Like when the guy took his leg lamp, when Gavin McLeod took his leg lamp out of the big box at Christmas time in the Christmas Story, all that shredded wood for packing material instead of plastic.
It's just basically tinder.
Yeah. And he packed up a bed downstairs and would take his naps in it, sneak naps in it.
Hey, did you wonder, when they had the scene at the hospital? I mean, here she was supposed to have shot herself with her husband's gun, and then they had just her
Yeah, I
face
know.
wrapped. And I thought, where exactly did the bullet go?
Probably
you know,
went like this.
you know,
She probably held
because
it up to her head.
if it wasn't gonna shoot her brains out and kill her instantly, she couldn't have done this. So I think she would have had it under her neck, and she would have done a lot of damage.
She was no expert at much of anything, this woman. So
I'm saying
I'm not surprised she muffed this.
I'm sorry to interrupt. This is actually a thing that's kind of real to real life. Apparently, I think the statistics go a little something like women are more likely to attempt suicide, but men are much more likely to succeed. And I think a lot of that has to do with the urge at the last second to jerk away, and they'll botch it. You don't want to botch that, but I think this is probably what happened here. Sorry.
That's what I think.
I think that's the real moral to the story in this movie is that if you're going to commit murder-suicide, do it right.
Right.
But
none of this half-ass stuff.
Yeah, it's terrible.
But she didn't ruin her face, you know. And there's got to be someplace in there, you know, part of her face should have been blown off.
That's your willing suspension of disbelief for a story. Come on now. You have to just go with it a little bit. Because you can always pick apart. Well, I guess that's what we're doing, is picking apart every speck of possible mistakes. But sometimes it's just interesting to think about the ideas of the story too. Anyway, they still didn't know if Christine was going to live at the end, and Aunt Monica says, well, if the worst comes to worst and it says to the dad, if your worst comes to worst and you lose your wife, you still have Rhoda. And here comes Rhoda tromping in. It's like, and then she asks about, gee, how long do those little lovebirds live? Because Aunt Monica said she's going to give me her little bird when she died. And the dad goes, oh, I don't know. Do they live as long as people? Oh, no, they don't live as long as people.
And then
Aunt Monica's in for it.
And then when she goes to get her raincoat and her hat on, I thought she was going to go upstairs on the roof because they were going to do something on the roof.
Oh, but that was where Aunt Monica's made a place for us. I'm going to have a sun bath up on the roof. Where no one can see it.
And I thought, she's going to push Monica off or something. And I thought she was going upstairs to plot her dirty deed.
But her mom had said, well, now can I have the penmanship medal back, Mom? Because, Claude's dead. It won't do him any good. And she said, no, I went down to the pier and I threw it back in the water just in memory of Claude. And then so she filed that one away. And then all this murder-suicide thing happened. Oh, but we forgot to talk about Leroy and how he found that he was teasing her that he found the shoes her mother said, put those shoes down the incinerator and burn them up. And so she goes, okay, Mother, I'll do that. And Leroy says, well, I found those shoes. The little boy had those marks on his head. And then that really got her interested.
Did you ever have an incinerator?
No, but I didn't. We lived in California.
We
never had that old of a house.
We didn't have one in the house, but I remember my parents had this big metal thing in our backyard. We would go and put all the stuff in, and we would burn it.
A big old burn barrel,
and we would burn all the paper, all the trash, everything back there. And that's where I made my mud pies. I would cook them in the incinerator.
Oh. Well, and then they were hardened into clay.
Yeah, and then I ate them. So.
Oh, gee.
Yes.
Yeah,
She was 23 at the time.
That's why I became such a good cook.
But that's how Leroy got burnt up, because he said, I know where the shoes are. I have them and I've hidden them. And you're never going to find them. And so she thought, well, he has to go. And all the neighbors heard him and saw him running around on fire. And they didn't show it because it was a stage play. And you didn't have to show it. It's in my memory as if I saw it. As a child. It's like, oh my gosh, he was burning up, which was kind of a fear when you're a kid.
That's where Hitchcock was such a master. You know, that scene in Psycho you never see anything really, but it's all that horror.
It sticks in your mind as if you did.
And that's, as a master, that's where he made it so this really could happen. Where I kept thinking, how could she set that bed on fire and get out of there without Leroy knowing?
Because she was really evil, and Leroy was kind of dumb.
He had to be dead asleep, is all I'm saying, in the middle of the day. So, were you surprised by the ending?
When I was a kid, I was surprised by the ending. Since I'd seen it a long time ago, I kind of knew what happened. But it was poetic justice, and that was the movie standards. What was it called? Let me look. The Motion Picture Production Code. See, in the stage play, really, the mother succeeded in killing herself, and Rhoda lived. Yeah. No.
Yes, Rhoda lived, and Christine killed herself, I believe.
Right, but in the Motion Picture Production Code of the day, crime couldn't pay, so the person who'd done all these bad things had to get her comeuppance. So that's why they switched it to Rhoda getting zapped at the end. And somebody said, "Oh yeah, just like Leroy said, electrocuted."
He said that?
He said, yes, the little electric chair. And then it goes down to the pier, and she's fishing around, and she doesn't care about I said, if I were like 10 years old, I would have really been freaked out to put on all my clothes and go out in the middle of the night in a blinding rainstorm with thunder and lightning. I would have never done that. But she didn't care. She was like, I'm going to get that penmanship medal.
Yeah, but I would have done it in the middle of the day instead of...
Yeah, they'd see you. They all had her number by then.
Not her dad. Her mom was in the hospital. Everybody else
but there was a public park.
And I don't think Monica had her number yet.
No, dumb Monica. She was ready to take her up and have a sunbath on the roof.
She was so smart about everything else, but she couldn't see past her nose on that one.
Well, very good. Very good. Well, ladies, would you like to recommend this to anybody in particular?
I recommend it to people who like old movies and like to see how they did it back then, how they put the movies on, and the psychological stuff they were thinking about back then, and how different it is from today, and just enjoy it for the old movie.
Yeah, some of the TV standards or movie standards then were really strict. I mean, you weren't supposed to do anything in the movies that would destroy the family unit. And so no swearing, no, visual effects. If you were going to shoot somebody.
No one could be pregnant.
Out of...
Oh, that's right.
And you slept in separate beds. I mean, did you notice the twin beds? Because even
was
though
that in this movie?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
That was the first thing I noticed is when he came home and she was in the hospital, he went to sit down on the bed. There's two beds with a dresser or a nightstand in between.
And one time in my whole life, I saw someone's house where the married
couple,
heads of the household had twin beds. One time, and it was the 70s. I was out of college.
Boy, what geeks!
It was different. I never once, not anywhere all the way along in all my childhood, did I ever see people have twin beds, except this one time.
Yeah, I don't think I ever did. And that was, when was the Newhart show?
The 70s.
that was a big change in the TV and movie industry because they had a double bed. And they would end the show in the bed talking.
Bob and Emily.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would just like to say to anybody listening, you should if you don't have a subscription to our Patreon, you should head over there because boy, the conversation does not end after this episode. We're going to continue on and have some good stories, Mother's Day like stories on our Patreon for this afterpod. But I think that ends our review of the movie, and we can move on to well, what should we do first, do you suppose?
I'll do the stories.
Okay.
If there's...
So we will move on to telling stories about Bryce and David.
Go.
Oh.
Do you have any stories you want to share about us and maybe get back at us for being horrible little shits?
No. I wanted to say I am so surprised that David likes horror movies because when he was a little boy, he couldn't handle it at all. The one that I remember was Skeletor, He-Man of the Universe. Skeletor. It was a cartoon. Everybody probably remembers that. And there was a skeleton as the bad man, as the bad guy. And David just couldn't handle that at all. And he thought about Skeletor all the time at night. And he slept with the light on.
This is
for
really
like
good information.
A year and a half. And I said, well, then don't watch that kind of stuff. And he goes, yeah, I won't.
But I couldn't stay away.
I
really couldn't.
So he's still working it out. Still working it out. So when Horror Movie Talk ends, you'll know David has worked it out.
My Skeletor complex.
Well, your fear of gross and scary things.
Do you want to share anything embarrassing about Bryce, Tommy?
Oh, Bryce was such a lovely little... No,
I get why he is this way. I'm so great. My mom said so.
I'm surprised he's into horror movies too, because I'm not surprised he's into movies because he was always into this. But I do have a story that it has nothing to do with movies.
Great.
Or
that's
anything.
Fine.
But he was, you know how you have the rule, you have to eat 2 bites?
Or a variation of that rule.
Yeah. I always tried to fix the meals. We'd all sit down around the table. And when my kids come home together, they end up telling this story all the time and then laughing. But I was introducing beets to my kids, okay? And Bryce would not eat his beets. He ate whatever else was. And I said, Bryce, you have to have 2 bites. And then you're done. 2 bites. So he picks up his 2 bites and he puts it in his mouth and he's chewing. And the next thing I know, his whole dinner is coming out. And I thought, maybe I won't do 2 bites with this child anymore.
I've got a couple throw-up stories. That's like my lane, almost.
Yeah, that's...
I threw up when Brooke spit a loogie on my arm once.
Oh, yuck.
Wait. Give me the mic. You threw up when your brother spit on your arm?
It was a real thick loogie. It was gross.
That's the wieneriest thing I've ever heard. I like spit in my brother's mouth. That kid never threw up. What a trooper. And it was like daily.
Yeah, David once told his brother that this white stuff in a bowl was whipped cream and he should eat some, and it was Crisco.
Garrett was like, this is actually pretty good.
All right.
No, he was unhappy.
You got
Mom, tell the Guatemala story. This is the trifecta of Bryce throw up stories.
Yeah, I mean there were so many. This is something, but we ended up going to Guatemala on a spring break vacation, and it was the last place we could find to go that we could get accommodations, and the kids were not happy. They were just not happy that though we were going there and not someplace with a lovely beach. And so there's two things in that trip that really stand out.
What spoiled little brats.
Yeah. Well,
taking them on a nice trip to Guatemala, and they're like, the beach? Where's the beach?
Well, Guatemala, they didn't even know where it was. But we get into the city. We fly in, and we're going to our hotel, and the kids are starving. And they've seen all the American, Kentucky Fried, Taco Time, McDonald's, Burger King, all the way to our hotel. And they're begging their dad to get something to eat. And their dad is one of these guys that wants his kids to get right out in the middle and experience the culture. Now, we've heard since then that we shouldn't have done this, but we take them.
They sold us to some slavers.
We take them out to the center court, which is always by a church. And so there's this great big center plaza, and we're walking out there, and there's a guy selling tacos. So we go up, and the dad orders tacos for each one of the kids. And I think it was Brooke took the first bite of his taco.
No, I think it was Paul, actually, our cousin Paul.
No, we passed it down to Paul.
Oh, okay.
And no, well, it doesn't matter.
What happened?
So anyway, they couldn't determine what kind of meat they were chewing. And Paul takes the taco and passes it on to one of the kids and says, "Here, taste this. It's gross." And now none of the kids will eat it. So they pass it down. There's this little kid that was following us. He's a little older than Bryce was, I think, but younger than Brooke. And he takes the taco, but the kids pass it down and say, "Here, do you want this?" And he takes it and he eats it. And
is this someone you know?
No,
it's some little
just
urchin.
some kid that was following us. And my kids, I mean, they were totally shocked that this kid would eat something that somebody had already had a bite out of. Mm-hmm. They never would have done that. Then, so this was the first cultural thing, I think, that stuck in my mind, in my kids' minds, because the next morning I saw that little kid sleeping in a doorway and realized that he didn't have a home. And did you notice that, Bryce?
No.
Can you remember that?
No.
Did Bryce throw up on this child? What's happening?
Okay, so now
we're just getting real bummer stories now.
now we're going, and Guatemala is a place with a lot of hills, up and down, and twists and turns, and the roads aren't big.
And I was notoriously car sick. Like, I'd get car sick on the freeway.
Oh,
in the U.S., and this was like cobblestone roads.
And it was
a real wiener, Tommy.
And he ate a pretty decent breakfast. We all had a pretty decent breakfast. We were going up this, and all of a sudden, Bryce says, "Dad, I'm going to throw up." And Brooke says, "He's going to hurl, Dad. Hurry, pull over." So we pull over. We're at the top of the hill, very top of the hill. And there's this little house over on the side. And Bryce just runs out of the car.
Throws up all over the house.
And throws up all over the ground, and and we're back there watching him. And he's walking back. And all of a sudden, we are just laughing, and he thinks we're laughing at him, and so he kind of starts to cry. But what we see in the background is the chickens and the dogs running over to his pile. And they're just scooping up his breakfast.
Waste not, want not. That's what I always say. When one girl throws up, I order the other girl, go eat your sister's throw up, I say. That's what I say.
So do you have any good stories of David and Garrett fighting?
Oh.
They're pretty harrowing, actually.
Yeah.
Look at her. She looks like she's flashing back.
Yeah, I kind of am.
Was David a bad seed?
No, he had a very good heart. It was the other stuff that it was the outward actions that kind of went haywire.
They say actions speak louder than words, and I'm bound to prove them wrong. So do you have any other stories you want to share with me, or should we move on to calls? Are you saddened by memories? Saddened by memories. All right,
is this live?
No.
Yes, it's going. Say hi to the people, Mom.
So with that, we have some calls. Bryce, do you have the calls pulled up?
I do.
So we have some calls from our callers. These are just normal calls.
Yeah, we answer voicemails all the time, and this is pretty representative of what we get, I'm sure.
Yeah. So let's see what we got, and you guys can respond to these as you see fit.
Hey guys, my name is Helen. I'm just calling because my son recently started listening to your podcast, and he was like, Mom, you gotta listen to this podcast. These guys are hilarious. So I listened to it, and you guys are great. And, I listened to the Annabelle episode because Annabelle, I'm not really into horror movies, but it's got the Catholic Church in it, and I was like, I am all for this movie. The Catholic Church prevails over everything, and I am a God-giving woman, and I know that the Catholic Church was going to get rid of that Annabelle. So I watched that movie, and then I listened to your podcast, and you guys are amazing. You guys are hilarious. But, there's just one thing I really gotta nitpick about. Do you guys really have to burp and fart so much? There was just random noises, and is that what young kids find funny these days? I don't get it. I don't see the appeal. Maybe just do a little bit less of that. And, there was also a lot of swearing, and you're watching a movie about the Catholic Church. Please just show a little respect. So, that's my only thing. And, just keep the swearing to a minimum, please, for my son's sake. I really don't like him listening to all that profanity. So, bye.
Thanks for your call, Helen. Next caller. What's up, Mom?
Well, I kind of relate to Helen. But on the other hand, this show is definitely not about respecting anything. And
how do you mean?
it's not going to be respectful of somebody's mom's sensibilities, and it's not going to be very respectful of the Catholic Church. And lots of it is hilarious because of that. And 12-year-olds love bodily function noises.
That's our target market.
And 40-year-olds.
And guys, men, yeah. Guys like that.
Do we burp and fart?
You're a machine made to burp and fart.
I'm not sure that that's true.
I'm the machine made to fart, and you're the machine made to burp.
Okay, next caller.
Hey, babies. It's Jackal. Just calling in to say how proud I am of you guys creating such a community of just great people that can't be stressed enough. And how like wholesome you guys are to listen to.
Wholesome?
On another note, though, as I've suggested before, I think it'd be a great idea to do a contemplative, critical review of Gone with the Wind, and how that would be a more like family-centered view of your podcast. I think you guys would go far from that. As always, proud of you, and I'll talk to you next time.
Gone with the Wind is my favorite.
That's your favorite movie?
Oh, I can't stand that one.
I used to watch that every time it came out, and I read the book at least once a year.
Wow, you guys
devoted.
Are like a real odd couple here. This is perfect.
I
you should do a podcast.
Gone with the Wind at all. It was really long, and Scarlett made me so irritated.
she was kind of like Rhoda. Very full of herself.
No, she was full of herself, but she didn't kill people.
Well, she didn't kill people, but she certainly ruined
really
a lot of lives because
she was just a slave owner, right?
She wanted what she wanted. Well, it was her sister's. She married her sister's fiance because all of a sudden he was rich. And she wanted that money.
You guys are so different in your opinion.
Well, see, I haven't read the book. I've just seen the movie, which irritated me, and I may have things wrong because I don't.
But you should do a podcast review show. Your own.
Well, I'd
have to watch Gone with the Wind again.
Oh, dear. We have a new call.
Sorry.
We're not going to answer that. Okay, should we move on to the next call? So, Tommy likes the idea of doing... Maybe we could do Gone with the Wind. It's kind of... somehow we could work it into horror.
Yeah.
Horror. Well, the horror.
The horrors of war.
The horror.
The horror of all those guys laid out there in Atlanta.
Oh.
That was shocking.
But you know what I learned from that? If you pee on your hands, that sterilizes them so that you can continue working. That was something in the movie.
People come to Horror Movie Talk to learn about horror movies, but what they don't realize is they get real hard-hitting true facts.
Medical information.
Medical info. Next caller.
So if you're out and about on town and you want to, keep yourself safe from COVID, pee on your hands.
Hi, guys. This is Shania from Standish, Maine, and I just wanted to let you guys know that you guys are the most sincere, sweet podcasters that I listen to like every single day. I just really wish you would cover something more less provocative, and that's it.
Thank you for calling in, Shania. She doesn't want us to be so provocative. What do you think about? But she said we're nice and kind and good people.
No,
Yeah,
so are the
sincere.
movies provocative or are you provocative?
I think she was talking about the movies.
I don't know. I would like to believe
Provoking what?
Oh, ire.
Isn't that what you want to do at all times?
I am offended.
See, I mean, what you'll learn from these calls and what we learned in the past from calls from listeners is that they really like us and our wholesome attitudes and like the good conversation, but we kind of got in the lane of horror movies, and they think that maybe we should move on or
branch
expand.
out.
We got a ton of these calls. We got to go through these.
Hi, Dad. Hey, Dad. Hi, Dad. There's no sound.
It's a message.
What is it?
Leave a message.
Yeah, that's. We'll move on. I think that's
Wrong
Aaron
number.
trying to get the kids to leave a message, and it's not working out.
Oh, here's a big one. Here we go.
Hello, Mrs. Day and Mrs. Hanson. This is Alan, another listener of Horror Movie Talk. I'm pretty sure that these messages are probably repetitive, but I just wanted to let you know that I hope you guys have a great Mother's Day. David and Bryce are the greatest, and I really enjoy them. They're the only podcast that I listen to other than the Joe Rogan Experience, but they're fantastic, and they make my day a little bit brighter, and I think you raise some good old boys. Well, yeah, good old men. Anyway, I'm about to be microchipped by Bill Gates in this CVS, but like I said, happy Mother's Day, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye.
He's about to be Thank you, Alan. He's about to be microchipped by Bill Gates in the CVS. That really took a turn at the end there. Makes you question whether or not you can really trust anything that he said.
Okay, so this is from a
Thanks, Alan.
very regular caller. He's the one that did our outro music.
Yeah, you'll hear his song. And he actually, bringing up Bugsy, he just released a new single called Aesthetic. You guys should check him out on Instagram. He's Bugsy Siegel on Instagram. Check him out.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, this is Brian Weston, a longtime listener. I just wanted to call in and say how great people you are. I really find it a redeeming factor every time I listen to you guys speak. I mean, it's just such a blessing, a grace from God to be able to find a podcast that finally gets me, to find a pair of people that I consider my best friends, closer than my closest family. I feel like I've known you since the day I was born, but I just want to know, could you please talk about something other than horror movies all the time? I mean, it's such a degrading genre. It's rated R nonsense. It projects violence onto our youth and into our society as a whole. And I feel like if you would just, talk about anything else, I would listen to a sports talk broadcast possibly. Or I don't know, maybe you guys, could talk about religion or, even politics. Anything other than this garbage horror. I mean, I feel like your parents would probably be prouder of you if you didn't, review things that were so vulgar and just so explicit. Because you guys are beautiful, shining bright stars, and, the galaxy, I feel, revolves around you guys for being genuine, authentic, positive people. And I just feel like you could do a lot better than horror. Horror is beneath you. You could be, the professor of do's and not the no-nos. You could be a spookology, but it's something that is a little bit more positivity. I just wanted to call and leave you guys this message, let you know that I love you guys. You're amazing. I hear amazing grace. Much love to Dave. Much love to Bryce. Everybody over there at blank, blank, blank movie talk. Love you guys. It's your boy Bugsy calling from Tampa, Florida.
He's anything but brief.
Yeah.
He likes words. He's a rapper. So, that's how they do. How are these making you guys feel? I'm not getting a lot of vocal reactions from you here.
Well, on that particular call, going from horror movies to politics and religion, the two things you're not supposed to talk about at the dinner table, I definitely now.
Yeah, that's kind of rude, Brian.
Yeah.
I would say go to a chick flick.
You want us to? Man, you want to
romantic
see
comedies?
Real horrible eviscerations. We will destroy a chick flick.
Ugh. Okay, speaking of theme music, this is Max. He did our intro music, and he left a voicemail.
That had the burps in it.
Hi, Bryce and David. This is Max from Idaho. I just wanted to call and thank you guys for always putting on such a pleasant show. When I'm in a bad mood, I put on your podcast, and you guys always cheer me up. And I really appreciate how family friendly it is. I love listening on a Sunday afternoon. You guys are kind, noble, and most importantly, handsome. You are good role models for a young man such as myself. But I just have one question. Why do you always have to review horror movies? Can't you review some Disney films sometimes? Anyways, I gotta go. Bye.
Almost feels like a broken record.
It is.
Yeah, it feels like they were prompted somehow to do this. Huh.
Prompted by their love of horror movie talk.
But how can they know how handsome you are when it's a radio?
We've got news for you, ladies. We're
on social media.
We're on social media. You're on our social media right now. I posted a picture of both of you talking.
No.
On our Instagram.
I thought this wasn't live.
It's not live. It's just a picture.
How did that person know we were on there?
Well, it's almost as if they were prompted to call in. And, well, we talk about what's coming up in the future, you know? We say, oh, well, next week we're going to have our moms on the show. Oh. And then people call and they say, hello, Kathy Day, Tommy Hansen.
Okay, I'm going to... I feel like there's a lot of these, and I feel bad if we don't play all of them.
Yeah, let's play them. Let's just rapid fire. You guys can just talk over them if you need to.
Right.
Where are we at? Oh, not bad.
Hey, guys. It's Ian. I had a couple things I wanted to say when I called. One was I've been loving the pretentious episodes. They're great. I just said that wrong. Sorry. But they're great. They're awesome. I'm glad I get to hear them. All the episodes are awesome. And the other thing was the Spotify deal. No matter if you guys take that deal or not, that'd be great. If you guys do, you deserve it. I'll follow you guys no matter what, no matter if you take it or not. Because slightly serious real talk for a second. When I found you guys, I was in like a little slight, I don't know, funk, midlife crisis, depression, whatever you want to call it. Something I never really went through before, and listening to the podcast, the After Pod, you guys, it's helped me through it. It honestly has. You guys give me something every week to look forward to, and it was. Like I said, I was in the middle of a weird thing when I found you guys, and I'll always be thankful for that. And that's why I said I'll follow you guys no matter where you go. HMT's the best. You guys are awesome. Love you guys.
Thanks so much, Ian. So he mentioned that's really sweet.
Yeah.
He mentions the pretentious episodes and the afterpods, which are perks for our patrons on Patreon.
Speaking of which, thank you to our new patrons, Michael H, Jonathan M, Elias, and Tyler L. My good personal buddy, Tyler L.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Ian. Yeah, we do have reviews of movies that are only available on our Patreon, and he is one of the people who gets to listen to those. And I really appreciate the vote of confidence and just being, just straight with us. It's very nice of you, Ian. Thank you.
Hey guys, it's Glittercore. I just wanted to tell you that I've been kind of thinking about what I'm grateful for in my life, and I wanted to let you guys know I'm very grateful for you two. Working in the medical field, it's easy to feel unappreciated and start to lose faith in humanity. But when I found you guys, young Bryce and David, the podcast, it definitely forced me to believe in good people and humanity again. All of my worries and woes about the world melt away with each word these two angels whisper. My confidence in the world has been renewed by Bryce and David. I seriously believe that. I most often actually listen to Bryce and David's podcast on my way to and from a 15-plus hour shift at work, where I often, unfortunately, endure blood, pus, people in pain, and forlorn. Sometimes it is hard to feel appreciated, as now the public can Google review their medical provider as if it's their local pizza joint. My staff and I often deal with verbal and sometimes physical abuse, as well as misogyny. So when I know I can listen to the complete opposite of this verbal abuse and misogyny in Bryce and David's sympathetic and mild-mannered and very much jovial podcast, it definitely puts a smile on my face and allows me the strength to continue.
Why are you laughing?
With the life and servitude of working in the medical field. I definitely do consider Bryce and David my angels, but even more so, whomever birthed and raised such amazing gentlemen wears a halo as well, in my opinion. I honestly do not think I would have survived working in the medical field with COVID without the gift of Bryce and
Really
David's
slopping
podcast.
it on thick.
Thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate it. Take care.
Glittercore is just an angel. She's a regular listener, and she's just one of our most wholesome listeners that shares with us inspirational quotes all the time.
I'm getting dual messages here. Dual messages about how gentlemanly and kind and then clean up your act. Don't swear so much.
Well, sometimes we get 5-star reviews, sometimes we get 1-star reviews. People take it different ways, They
sure do.
So, but I think on the majority, I think it sounds like people really appreciate how much of a nice young men we are. So, I mean, that's good. Good on you guys.
You are nice young men.
This is Rojo from the Bronx. I'm a longtime listener of the podcast, and honestly, I felt I had to call in and thank you, Bryce, Brian, Bill, and Mr. David Day for being such important forces and factors in my life. It marks 1 year since I started listening to your podcast. I started during the pandemic. I was alone, afraid, didn't have anything or anyone. I just had your two voices. I gotta say, you two are just two of the greatest men I've had the chance and I've had the opportunity to listen to. And
this is Rojo from the Bronx.
I just don't know what I'd be without you.
Oh, Rojo.
But honestly, I don't really like horror movies. They're kind of lame. Like, why is it always horror? So horror, all the gore, the evil. It's beneath you guys. You should do something more upbeat and happy. But that's it. This is Rojo from the Bronx. Happy Mother's Day.
Rojo's a real sweetheart.
Don't trust anything that boy says. He is shifty. Let me tell you.
He's a nice young man.
He's shifty.
He's a regular caller, and he's always, that's really representative of what he brings to the show.
If you guys listen to the show, you would know a little bit about Rojo from the Bronx.
Yeah.
Boy, Mom, you look really incredulous when Rojo started talking. What are you feeling? Can you describe it?
No.
Please. I'm begging you.
We'll go to the next caller. It's okay.
Something that a doting yacht would say along the lines of, you two are such nice young men. Thank you for having a family-friendly, God-centered podcast. But you have to always watch horror movies? Can't you just watch something nice? Don't say that, but something that feels like that.
That was a weird message. I don't know what that was all about.
So who told all these people to call in this way and tell you not to
Well,
do
we
it?
tell them at the top of the show every time to call and leave us a voicemail.
Well,
no.
I'm going to let them in on the...
Yeah,
I'm going to let them in.
What? What are you talking about?
At the end. We'll let you in on on what's going on. There's something going on. I'm just impressed that so many people called. Holy moly. Move on to the next one.
Bryce, what's that?
Hey guys, my name's Tyler, and I'm calling down from Kentucky. I actually just wanted to call in real quick and say, I really appreciate how wholesome you guys are. I listen to a lot of horror movie podcasts. There's a lot of podcasts out there where they're talking dirty and they're burping and things on mic, and they're talking about like farts and boobs and all kinds of gross stuff.
Boobs,
and
gross.
I just wanted to call in and say, I really appreciate how wholesome you guys are and how you all really avoid anything like that. And you guys really, just have a good show that's really wholesome and it makes me feel good. So
Makes him feel good. Tyler's a nice guy.
Yeah.
But boobs are gross.
Are you 8 years old?
I don't know how to answer that.
This is your old buddy John from Virginia.
John from
Just wanted to
Virginia.
call and remind you guys how much of an inspiration I think you both are. And, I can't speak for the entirety of the audience that listens to you guys, but I know myself, just from listening to you guys on a daily basis, I've become a much better person. My manners have become better. I'm just an all-around better dad.
God bless you guys. And God bless the womb that bore you both. I can't thank your parents, specifically your moms, for the wonderful job that they did raising you guys. You guys have turned into just tremendous, well-rounded, respectful, men, and it's a breath of fresh air in today's day and age. So thank you again, and love you guys. Bye.
I think this is scripted.
Well, they're all great
How
actors.
could we possibly
They're all great actors.
script this many people?
No, they didn't script it. They
I
called
think this is just called a
it's
consensus.
our benefit. It's for our benefit. It's very kind.
I don't
but
know.
you don't have to pretend.
It sounds like it's a consensus, though. I mean, I don't think we're just a little podcast. We couldn't get this many people to call in and say
Right?
the same thing. I mean,
Total
sure.
strangers, not one voice sounds the same.
Yeah.
Not one.
Hey, Bryce and David. This is Rob. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, and I've been listening to you guys for a little while now. And I just wanted to call. You guys were talking about selling out on Spotify or whatever. I just wanted to tell you guys, don't worry about that. Like when I first started listening to you guys, Bryce was going through some stuff with his job. I know David's probably had some bumpy patches too, but sometimes it's good to just kind of soak in your success, I guess, if that makes sense. Also, you guys should cover The Fly because it's the best horror movie that's ever come out. Anyway, hope you guys have a good night, and later.
Did either of you see the 80s Cronenberg The Fly?
With Jeff Goldblum?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh,
Did
yes.
you see that?
Oh, yes.
Did you, Tommy?
I saw parts of it, yeah.
It's gross.
It's one of the best.
And yeah, and I also remember the one from the 50s.
I think that's why I've always had a... Help me! I saw Jeff Goldblum described as being a very handsome man. and I only see him as the Fly.
Brundlefly. Oh.
And it always scared me.
Yeah.
So...
I came really close to picking The Fly the other day.
Hi, Meg.
Hey, Puppers. Hey, Meg.
Bryce's dog has showed up at the window and turned everyone here into a 4-year-old girl.
Thanks for calling in,
Rob from Cincy.
Yeah, we'll have updates on Spotify later. We're still working.
Well, you should do. I'm surprised you didn't do one or the other of The Fly.
Not yet.
Not
Got
yet.
a lot of movies to get to.
We just barely covered The Thing.
Right.
So
Did you do X the Unknown?
No, not yet. We're going to rely on you for horror movie talk classics.
Yeah, that's a good one. I was scared of that one too.
Okay. Well,
okay,
here's our
two
more callers.
voicemails.
Wow.
Then we'll be done. This is it's been a while since we've done voicemail, so it makes sense that we have so many.
These all
Good morning, Horror Movie Talk. This is Biggin, the founding member of Patreon for Horror Movie Talk. And I know that both David and Bryce's mothers are on the show today, so I just want to say that when it comes to raising fine young meat, I just got to say that I can't really think of anyone who
like
would have done a better job
fine
than
middle-aged meat.
you two ladies, because every time I look at these boys, it's just, man, they come from fine stuff. So, again, excellent job. I love these boys. Have a great day.
So do I.
That's Biggin. You've met Biggin.
Yes.
Yeah. He's big, huh?
Yes.
That's what people say. They say, boy, look at that guy. He's the largest.
He's a biggin.
He's the largest damn man I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. Thank you, Biggin. He's also supported us from the very start. Mm-hmm. He's been very kind. So.
Okay, last call. This is from Gabriel.
Yeah, she's been a supporter for a long time, too.
Yeah.
We love Gabriel.
Yeah. I misgendered her several times before we found out she was a woman.
It's fluid.
Hey guys, it's Gabriel K calling from Pennsylvania. Just telling you guys, you are awesome. I love hearing you every week, the pod and the after pod. I just have a question about the video.
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to be something that the patrons are going to get the early access to with the ad free, or will it only be on YouTube? Again, I love you guys. You're hilarious. You're intelligent. I love every review. Sleepaway Camp will always be my favorite. Keep doing what you're doing. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Gabriel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're... I think next week we're going to, actually do a test run on the video. because we finally gotten like enough like buffer.
Yeah.
We got all the equipment back here littering the office.
That's why it's so messy in here.
We'll find out what it entails to like edit and do the video and see how we can integrate that into the current process. But
I'll tell you one thing for sure. If your question is, will patrons get some sort of special extra video thing? Not for a while. Not for a while. If there's, I don't know. Maybe we could make it available to them early or something. I don't know, but it's going to be a lot just to get used to doing video.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot just
you
to
mean
get it
doing
out.
this on video?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can see our pores. It's all going to be in high def.
So that means you're going to have a shower every day.
I think people come for the grime. Come for the horror, stay for the grime, is what they say.
No. They want to see how handsome you are.
How would you know, Tommy? You don't even listen to the show. You said you're not allowed to. Does Bryce keep you from it?
He warned me not to listen.
I'm not sure if that's how he put it. I think I could give you some Bryce-approved episodes that you'd probably appreciate.
Boy, there are some that you would your toes would curl. It would be so horrible for you to listen to, I'm sure.
Because David is real blue.
It's not me.
All right, so that's the voicemail. Thanks, everyone, for calling in, as always. Leaving those voicemails and feedback. I think we're still going to keep Horror Movie Talk brand on horror for the time being.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe we'll branch out.
Tossing
Maybe Tommy and Kathy will start their own podcast for Gone with the Wind and classic horror.
Oh, this is a lot of work.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm glad to hear someone else say it unprompted.
Yeah, but you did more work than me.
No, David came over and did most of the work, and
I had a fit with you.
I freaked out a little bit.
I had a
was
fit
like,
with you.
I'm not good at this. That's why I didn't do this for a job.
Before we go,
Writing.
I'd like to make sure that you guys have some presents. Thank you for coming. Here are some chocolates.
Oh,
and then we have
my favorite.
We have some flowers for you. Some bouquets upstairs.
You didn't have to
Some
do that.
bouquets for you upstairs.
Isn't that nice?
Oh,
So,
that's very nice.
We'll get those and we'll give them to you before we record the afterpod, and then we can wrap up talking about having fun times on the afterpod, which everyone should make sure to listen to.
Well, I think when so many people are saying do something other than horror, you could go into action adventure.
That's a good point.
And you could go into drama, because there's lots of scary things in drama, too.
Action
And
adventure
that's what
talk.
this was mostly.
We could cover like sci-fi movies
Yeah.
that aren't horror movies, like Alien, or like thriller movies like Seven.
Tremors.
Yeah.
Oh, Tremors was hilarious.
We could make baseless accusations that many people disagree with. We could do all of these things and more.
So thanks again. Thank you so much, Mom and Kathy, for showing up and doing this. This is something that I think our listeners are going to love. And I had a real good time listening to you guys talk about this movie. If you're listening right now, please share the podcast with a friend. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Lots of different ways to support the show. Go to horrormovietalk.com and you'll find links to Amazon, to Patreon, to all the places where you can give us your hard-earned money. Again, thanks to Mom and Kathy, and thanks to all the callers.
Yeah, big thanks. I'm going to play us out with a thank you, a tribute, and then after it ends, you can just play the outro song.
Okay. If you want to leave us a voicemail, just again, the number is 682-253-4468.
We love you, and thank you to everyone who called in. You're all
Whore.
Looking for a podcast full of burps and gas, perverted cast, skinny and fat? Look no further. Horror Movie Talk is accidentally funny, begs to donate money, fake sponsors for dummies, and so much more. New episodes every hump day. They'll pickle your dickle for foreplay. Patreon members have it your way. Vote for a movie every month for the review. Chompa chompa, don't just stare at it, eat it like a taco. Put your tongue through the phone hoodie, Picasso. Look at them hot kids, swear not a pedo. Got me too'd with Cosby eating Jello. Pudding Pops done gave Bryce flatulence. Drain addict Dave doesn't give a shit. 1 through 10, is it horrible or excellent? Oil me up, daddy, is dinner rum. Kiss, Bryce Hansen. Look at them hot kids, Chris Henson. Masturbate with a crucifix, exorcist. Face huggers, chest bursters, alien. Linda Blair peed on Sigourney Weaver. I know it's true cause it came from social media. Patrick Bateman can't understand you. Stab you to death for rotten apple reviews. Opinionated podcaster with a doctorate. Spookology, doctor of philosophy. Bad gastritis, need colostomy. Turn Patreons into human centipedes. David Doobie Day, scare no expert. And global fucks hard, professional sexpert. Afterpods, taglines, and porno flicks. American Psycho, them guys pretty sick. Chompa chompa, don't just stare at it, eat it like a taco. Put your tongue through the phone hoodie, Picasso. Look at them hot kids, swear not a pedo. Got me too'd with Cosby eating Jello. Pudding Pops done gave Bryce flatulence. Drain addict Dave doesn't give a shit. 1 through 10, is it horrible or excellent? Oil me up, daddy, is dinner rum. Nothing good happens in the woods. Always get more than you bargain for. Got a pickle to dickle, machines tickle bitties. Killer on the phone, ain't no Sharon Stone. Vancouver, Portland, Oregon, and organs. Corona, COVID, curse, Lorona. Green River Killer, because reasons. Hallway of poop monster kids screaming. Ain't your ordinary dingleberry itinerary. 30 days shutter and jump scares, they fucking scary. Time for the spoilers with jokes and tropes. Use their white socks to catch their loads. To show them one titty, pretty. Paganism you should worship, they Teflon dicks. Pacific Northwest, let them see one breast. Shifty eyes stay spooky, poor man's digress. Bugsy, HMT, Horror Movie Talk.